hello, I have two beautiful trans men right here with me, two men that love each other very much, and this topic of trans men dating each other is very fascinating and full of interesting information, I'm sure. So this is really cute because this is Cole, who you may have seen before in a previous video, and this is also Cole. So two Coles that love each other. What? That's a hot fire right there. Oh.
Next month, it's April. Next month we'll be together for a year, which is kind of incredible. I feel like there's like a branch, like everywhere. Anyway, and it's been really good. So it's weird. It was a little weird in the beginning, just because I was coming to terms with my own sexuality at the time, but it's not weird anymore.
Can I put you forward like this?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Has your sexuality changed through transition or using hormones, anything like that? Or you just kind of have opened yourself up more naturally?
Yeah, definitely that, yeah. Before realizing I was trans, I definitely struggled. I'm like not even, okay. I definitely struggled with like my attraction to men. I was uncomfortable because I was uncomfortable with myself. But after transitioning, I was able to kind of like come to terms with everything that I was feeling and kind of like open myself up to that. But with meeting Cole, I didn't really have a choice because I was just so drawn to his energy that I just kind of said, well, okay, fuck it. That's my experience.
I'm just gonna love.
Yep, that's exactly my experience with that.
Yeah.
So.
Mine, I had experienced dating someone trans before, and actually it was interesting because before I transitioned, my ex transitioned, and it freaked me out, and at the time I was like, no, I don't date men. And then after a while, I realized that the reason why I was upset was not that he was transitioning, but that it was because I was trans, and like the fact that he was transitioning and then I was seen as the woman I was like, no, I can't do this. Whereas if I felt like if it was two women, I could be like the guy. So then once I transitioned and became comfortable with myself, then I was okay with it. Then I was like, okay, this all kind of makes sense. And then actually I realized that my attraction to men became bigger and my attraction to women became much smaller. And so although at the time I met Cole, I was at the point where I was like, I don't want to date nobody, I don't care. And I thought that if I did, I felt like it would probably be another trans guy because I felt like I needed to be with someone who I felt like I could relate to and I was similar to. I didn't feel like I could relate to women at all. And although cis guys are really hot, I didn't know quite how that was going to work, and there were things that made me nervous about it. And I was worried about them seeing me as who I am. And but I met Cole, and it was the first time I felt like I had really experienced someone seeing me for me. And it was amazing.
That is
amazing.
The beautiful thing about love is being seen and to the deepest place, you know? All the lightness and all the darkness, but just the acceptance.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's been good.
So what's it like going from being perceived as in these relationships where you're like, these female couples in the world, and that's how people treat you, like these lesbians, and then going to being perceived as this gay couple in the world? What's that like?
That was definitely a struggle for me, but it had nothing to do with like once being seen as like a lesbian and then switching that. It was more of like I had never before been seen as a gay man. So when we met when I was like really early on in my transition, so I was still like not passing as much and this and that. So it just made me really uncomfortable in the beginning because I didn't know what to do. I'd never had any experience with that before. But after it's just after I got over myself and my own insecurities, all of that kind of faded away. I don't think about it anymore.
Cool.
It's not something I worry about and ever. Yeah, I don't know.
It probably makes a difference that you're in a queer-friendly kind of city.
Yeah, oh yeah. yeah, that's another thing too, is everyone's
Have you
gay.
traveled outside of here?
No, not together. Not together, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I definitely at first had a few thoughts where I was like, people have a harder time with gay men than they do with lesbians.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. But I haven't had any trouble. And before I met Cole, and when I was single, I was working in a salon, and it was 90% gay men that worked in the salon. And I was not out as trans when I worked there. And that was really interesting because that was the first time that everyone just looked at me and just assumed I was a regular gay guy, and I was just treated as a gay guy, and it was cool, but then at the same time I was like, this is so different than the lesbian community. Like, it's just, you know, like, they'd make jokes about, like, I remember one time in the salon, one of them made a joke about how, like, oh, if we were all just hanging out here by ourselves, we'd all just end up naked. And I thought, well, okay, but, you know, you'd be a little surprised. And then, but I kind of, like, got used to that, and I was kind of like, it made me feel really good about the fact that not only did they accept me as a man, but that working in a salon around a bunch of very flamboyant gay men made me so comfortable, because I didn't feel like I had to worry about a lot of things that trans men worry about, like, am I gonna pass if I, like, you talk with my hands too much, or I, like, walk with my hips too much. Like, I just fit right in there, and it was great. So then, by then I kind of felt, I realized actually that I felt 1,000 times more comfortable as people seeing me as a gay man than I did of them seeing me as a straight man.
That's
because I was like, I've never been straight.
Right.
Yeah.
So for someone to see me as straight would have been so weird. So it felt very comfortable for me.
So what's pretty amazing is you had sort of your coming of age experience, your sort of journey into manhood around a really good gay culture where you felt at home, where you started to feel at home and discovered kind of a certain tribe of yours.
Yeah.
Because you're trans, do you feel like you're making self-discoveries and have sort of this inside view of how you're looking out at the world and things that you learn from each other? I don't know if that question exactly makes sense, but do you know what I mean? Like, because you're a trans couple, and you have sort of this inside knowledge and you're moving through...
I think that...
So you have really interesting conversations.
No, yeah, we do. I think that, all in all, just given our experience, with being, you know, first gay and then trans and then gay, that it gives us a lot of understanding and, what's the word, empathy and sympathy with each other and certain things that, you know, we're struggling with. You know, we're able to see things more of, like, from where the other person is coming from. So, you know, that actually really helps because we don't fight.
You must really empower one another.
Yeah, we're always there for each other, and it's never. I mean, couples always kind of have bad days, but we never fight, and we're always there for one another.
Cole is always giving you beautiful haircuts.
Beautiful haircuts, yes. He cooks for me every night. I know, I'm spoiled. It's pretty bad.
I feel like with being a trans person, trans people, and this is an assumption I'm making, but from my experience, the people I talk to, trans people, they feel alone. They feel like they're the only one that has this problem, even if they've watched YouTube videos, and even if they have a few trans friends. So being in a relationship with a trans person, I feel like no matter how far you are into your transition or whatever your situation is, you're gonna have days where you're gonna be like, do my hips look big? Or like, is it weird that I worry about this, or is it weird that I worry about that? And to just have someone else be like, no, that's normal. That's a thing that we go through.
Yeah,
it's cool. Is like, okay. And the fact that we're both trans makes it so that in our daily life it's not
weird.
It's not it's not a thing that separates you. It's not a weird thing. It's just it is
normal. Yeah, it's almost like you forget that you're trans.
That's
almost
awesome.
Because that's what you're exposed to.
Yeah.
You know?
And when it comes down to it, you must have the best sex ever.
Yeah,
I would say so. I would say so, yeah.
And there's like no inhibitions or anything weird, right?
I think the best part about that, and I've talked about like my sexual life a little bit in my YouTube videos, but I think the best part for me is there are no walls anymore. Whereas with past relationships, sex was horrible because I was so closed off, but now it's just like so open, and we trust each other 100%, and you know, we have the same kind of body, so there's no like, oh my God, is he seeing me this way? I mean, that's not going through his head,
That's so
right?
cool.
Because we're both men and we have like the same type of body, so that definitely helps. And honestly, good sex, honestly, in my opinion, is honest sex.
Right.
That's what that is.
Honest and
Yeah, I totally agree because I've had huge issues with sex in the past, just that a lot of fear and being closed off and not being comfortable and not just sometimes not even wanting to go there, which is where I was when I met Cole. I was like, I don't want to.
we don't do that.
Nope. Just because it's not an issue if you don't do it, you know. But it's been amazing, better than I even imagined it could have
And
been.
you're easy.
I slept with him pretty quick. That's what he's saying. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that, but I really think that the biggest thing with us is trust. Like, yes, we're both trans, and that's nice, and it's helpful. But the reason why it's been so great for me is because we have amazing communication, and we completely trust each other. And I know that if I don't feel like having sex, he's not going to be mad. And if we have it, it's good. And it's not, there's no pressure.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I agree completely.
And that's something all couples benefit from.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of pressure, you know, from it seems like, you know, past relationships and stuff, but it's never there.
Yeah.
And that's really what makes it so great, to be honest.
And I must say, from hanging out with you two, like I can feel the love and the trust, and just that you're very healthy together, and you very supportive, and I love it. I love this opportunity to talk to you, and I'm so glad you opened up and shared so many things.
Oh,
and,
it's great.
And thanks for being out there and for sharing your story.
Yeah.
No problem.
Now you may kiss
Oh,
the
okay.
the-